Thank you for choosing KRTV. I'm Shannon Newth. It's a day of both encouraging and sad news when it comes to coronavirus. There have been 2 more deaths related to COVID-19 in Montana, bringing the total number of coronavirus-related deaths to 12. Toole County continues to be one of the hardest hit areas now with 5 deaths, the latest a woman in her 80s. Cascade County saw its second death from coronavirus complications today, a man over the age of 65 with underlying health conditions. Now here's the encouraging news. There are no new coronavirus cases reported in the state since yesterday. 243 Montanans have recovered so far from coronavirus. There are 433 total confirmed cases statewide. Well, it's been over a month now since Great Falls Public Schools started virtual classes, and the district has now opted for a pass-fail system for high school students. GFPS officials feel the system is most beneficial for their students at this time. They say online learning poses challenges for students who struggle to learn virtually or use the technology that would allow them to do so. Teachers will pass or fail students based on that student's performance prior to online learning and their ability to comprehend coursework they've done over the past month. This system is also GPA neutral, which means students' past academic performance won't be negatively impacted.
Grades were starting to become, in some cases, not all, but in some cases, more about who could access the curriculum emotionally, technologically, academically, than truly about the deep understanding that would be taking place in the classroom if they were able to do that face-to-face instruction.
For those students who will be adversely impacted by this grading system and have unique circumstances that require a letter grade, Great Falls Public Schools say they can reach out to their school's associate principal to discuss the best course of action. A religious order here in the Electric City is keeping the faith during the coronavirus pandemic. MTN's Tim McGonigal tells us how they're honoring healthcare workers during a difficult time.
Through prayer and song, the Sisters of the Poor Clares Monastery in Great Falls are sending a message of hope in a time of uncertainty. The sisters have been praying for citizens and visitors to Great Falls and Montana since they started their community in 1999. On Monday, they wanted to continue that tradition outside, especially for nearby healthcare workers.
We see benefits. We see Great Falls Clinic, we see Park Place, and we've got numerous nursing homes and medical facilities around us, so we pray for them a lot. And when the Mercy flight takes off and land, we also pray for them. St. Clair was a healer.
For the most part, the Poor Clares live a closed life, so stay-at-home directives don't affect them too much. Sister Judith's advice to people who find themselves at home these days more than usual is to live in the now.
You have to be centered in what's going on right now and not planning ahead to what I would be doing if I was at work or if I was in school.
In Great Falls, Tim McGonigal, MTN News.
Sister Judith says it's been a tough adjustment to not be able to hold their regular masses at the monastery, but encourages people to attend once the stay-at-home directives are lifted. Great Falls businesses are saying thank you by offering essential workers their appreciation. We reached out to see which businesses are going above and beyond to let essential workers know they care. We received over 45 responses highlighting various businesses in and around the Electric City, from clothing stores that use their proceeds to pay for essential workers' meals to other business owners who write handwritten cards for those on the front lines. Plenty of local restaurants and coffee shops are also joining in, providing discounted or free meals so workers can have one less stress on their plate. Amy's Morning Perk is encouraging others to pay it forward so the essential workers we often forget, like grocery store employees, mail handlers, and food workers, can get a taste of the community love.
I believe that they just don't get recognized as much as other people do, and again, they're working 24 hours, keep everybody going with the groceries and mail and all that good stuff. So, yeah, they deserve a little bit of something as well.
And if you know of a business honoring their essential customers or employees, please share their story with us on Facebook. You can find a current list of all businesses giving back to essential workers on our website. Well, we know the COVID-19 pandemic is changing our community. To keep you and your family informed as we move forward, we're beginning a new series of reports. We're calling it The Rebound Montana. MTN's Keely Van Mittendorp walks us through how the series can help you during these uncertain times.
We have been shaken to our core. Our lives changed in profound and unsettling ways, and it all seems like it happened in an instant. The virus has left us wondering, when will businesses reopen? How will we go back to work? Do we even want to go back to the way things were?
The way we were is what got us to where we are.
Emerging from this epidemic will take time, hope, and understanding. It will mean taking a closer look at why help that's been promised may not be arriving quite as it should.
There's no red flags flying showing that why our workers are being delayed.
As we move forward, you'll see us shining a light on those determined to keep the economy running, even amid stormy seas.
This is keeping us working.
In the coming weeks and months, we'll be focusing on the rebound, our commitment to stories that will help you navigate these uncertain times.
They can't visit anybody and they can't go anywhere.
From what you'll need to know when it's time to go back to work, to how those in the community continue to step up. Our hope is to relieve some of the pressure we've all felt lately by showing you the best ways to respond as this country focuses on ways to revive.
We don't have a big life raft right now, but at least we have a life jacket.
We will not forget what this outbreak has done, the kind of loss it has left us with.
He was the kindest person I knew, and not because he was my dad, but just because he was genuinely kind.
But for everything this crisis has taken from us, it has given us back a sense of gratitude, a reminder to be thankful for what matters.
You may now kiss Friday!
And eventually, when things come full circle, we might rebound to someplace better than we were before.
Now, the focus of the rebound will be categorized into 4 broad areas: getting back to work, making ends meet, managing the pressure, and doing what's right. Well, our work week is off to a fantastic start here at home with lots of sunshine and warm temperatures today. It's been a beautiful one. Brandon, this is about as good as it gets for this time of year.
Yeah, really. I mean, it's rare that we get a nice sunny day like this that's also warm and not all that windy. In fact, we've got some stronger winds in the forecast here, but let's enjoy what we're dealing with right now. A closer look at that U.S. Bank iCam. It's beautiful. Blue skies, a little bit of cloud cover there, but clear conditions, and that temperature is not bad either. 63 degrees. The breeze is noticeable at 15 miles per hour, but it's not as strong as you'd might expect it. With 60-degree temperatures here, it's going to stay really nice through the evening too. So there's still a little bit of sunlight, or a couple hours of sunlight, excuse me. So you got plenty of time to get outdoors, maybe take the dog for the walk, or just get a walk in, some fresh air for yourself. We are going to talk a little bit about the negative side of these warmer temperatures, something that always happens this time of year. Once we start to warm up, we do get snow melt, and our snowpack is actually running a little bit on the high side. Anywhere in the shade of blue is above average, and it's actually the worst right now up on the High Line. So Hill County, Blaine County are going to be going under an aerial flood watch for some small stream flooding due to that snowmelt starting tomorrow. So that's what we're tracking as far as weather impacts. But in general, nicer weather for most of us, and we'll talk more about that later in the show.
All right, thanks, Brandon. We reported last week on Governor Bullock's first rush of campaign fundraising for his U.S. Senate contest against Republican Steve Daines. Today, MTN Chief Political Reporter Mike Dennison tells us more about where that money is coming from, both for Governor Bullock and Senator Daines.
Governor Bullock entered the race on March 9th and proceeded to raise $3.3 million in the next 3 weeks for his campaign. So, who opened up their wallets for candidate Bullock? Donors from 49 states were among his contributors, and at least $538,000 came from California, where Bullock went to college, and another $327,000 from New Yorkers. Together, donors from these 2 states accounted for 1/4 of Bullock's total. At least 10% of his money came from Montanans, about $333,000, although the Montana total is undoubtedly more. He had $814,000 from donors who gave less than $200 each and don't have to list their addresses or names. A good chunk of those funds is likely from Montana. Bullock also had $193,000 from political action committees, about 6% of his money. Daines raised $1.3 million for the first 3 months of this year and has taken in almost $8 million during his entire re-election campaign, dating back to 2015. Of that campaign total, at least $1.3 million, or 16%, is from Montanans, and another $900,000 is from small, unidentified donors, some of whom also are from Montana. 1/3 of Daines' campaign funds, $2.6 million, has come from PACs, most of which represent business interests. Wherever the money comes from, I think in this Senate race, we can count on one expensive contest. Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
Coming up, toasting quarantine. One Great Falls business is taking wine tasting online. We'll show you how when the 5:30 news continues.
Powered by the Montana Television Network. The 5:30 news continues on KRTV, Montana's news leader.
Virtual meetings on Zoom have become commonplace during the COVID-19 pandemic, and that's giving some businesses opportunities to extend their operations. Our Isaiah Dunk tells us how.
The COVID-19 pandemic has forced closures of dine-in settings for bars and restaurants, so Fifth and Wine owners Mark Tronson and his daughter Tara Strunk have adopted an online approach to continue to connect with customers while the restaurant section is off limits. For the past 4 weeks, Fifth and Wine has been hosting virtual wine tasting tours via Zoom.
My daughter Tara came up with the idea of this virtual wine tasting, just trying to figure out how we can kind of stay in business. It's really helped our financial bottom line, and it's also, I think, kept us connected, and maybe even more so connected to our good customers, and maybe, built some loyalty into the brand and things. So I think it's been just a win-win for all of us.
5 nights a week, 5 different bottles of wine, and the winemakers themselves join in to give their expertise. Each session lasts about 45 minutes, and they've been relatively popular, bringing in an average of 40 guests at a time from the U.S. and around the globe.
It's been really cool. We had a guy from Chile jump on. We had a guy from Spain jump on, which everybody's jumping on and saying, "Thank God I have something to do." 6:30 every night. You got a schedule and you got to get going. But the winemakers are also bored out of their mind. They're all in their houses and not really being able to work. So they've been really thrilled to actually come and have fun with us as a community of wine drinkers in Great Falls. We interview them more about how they got in the wine business, like what their story is, what their current role is, So we've had sales reps and we've had winemakers and we've had all kinds of different levels of people on, but it's always in conjunction with the wine that we're drinking.
To possibly see a different crop of customers and give wine drinkers a break, this week Fifth and Wine will be Fifth and Beer. Same idea, but with an assorted 6-pack of craft brews every night. It starts Tuesday night and costs $75 for the week. Simply place your order online, go pick up the beer from their building, and enjoy starting at 6:30 p.m.
We're going to have a national representative from Anheuser-Busch come on, which will be fun. And we got a big company out of Seattle called Elysian. And then we've got 4 other Montana breweries that we're going to do.
They plan to go back to wine next week. And if there's a silver lining, Tronson said these wine tastings have been more productive than some he's experienced in person. So you might expect Fifth and Wine to occasionally do these post-pandemic too. In Great Falls, Isaiah Dunk, MTN News.
Well, if you're enjoying this nice, warm, sunny weather, you're going to like the forecast, at least for the next few days. So I'll tell you when we're going to see some changes coming up.
Thanks. Now, here's your Storm Tracker weather forecast with meteorologist Brandon Michaels.
Well, the weather started getting nicer yesterday, and it's continued that trend today all across the board. We're a little bit warmer. It's not a huge improvement, but we were already nice yesterday, and we're even nicer today. Let's take a look at the actual temperatures we're seeing at this time. They're very comfortable. In fact, look at Jordan, 70 degrees off in eastern Montana there, 67 for Glasgow, 66 on the high line. Even our cooler spots like Lewistown and Cutbank are all the way into the 60s. So it's a very nice, comfortable day, and we've had plenty of sunshine too. A little bit of a building cloud cover into the afternoon hours, which we often see as the ground heats up a little bit. So a little bit of scattered puffy cumulus here and there, but nothing all that significant. And really, we're not going to see too much through the night tonight. Relatively clear skies is what I'm expecting. Maybe a little tiny bit of cloud cover off to the northeast, but nothing to be all that concerned about. And that is good news. We'll tell you why coming up here in just a second. But a nice sunny start to the day. Into the afternoon, we'll kind of follow that same pattern. We're going to get a little bit more cloud cover, but still fair weather and a nice day for us. And I said those clear skies were good news because we've got one of the first meteor showers of the year. Now, this isn't a very impressive meteor shower, but if you were to take some time out, get some fresh air tonight, and especially tomorrow night, if you wanted to look off to the northeast, you might see just 1 or 2 little meteors passing overhead, maybe a reason to get outside and enjoy the nice temperatures that we are going to have through the evening here. And we're going to talk about those temperatures coming up here in just a second. In general, though, the forecast remains nice for the next 24 hours. We're under right now a big ridge. You can see that right here. It's a big ridge in the jet stream. That means nice warm air and clear conditions. And for the most part, that's going to be shifting our way again tomorrow. So that warm air is going to be even closer to us. We're going to warm up a little bit. Our skies are going to remain relatively clear. And overall, it's going to be a pretty nice day for our Tuesday. Mild night tonight, only down to 39 degrees for our overnight low. 41 Fort Benton, 44 in Cutbank, 41 in Cutbank, excuse me, 41 in Malta, and 43 for the high temperature in Jordan through the day tomorrow. Beautiful day. Already by noon, we're in the 60s, even by the late morning, mid-50s. Really, really comfortable day. Mid-60s by the afternoon. I do think some spots could get pretty close to 70 degrees for the high tomorrow. In fact, especially on the High Line where we warm up a little bit more. Beautiful day there. 72 the high temperature in Malta, 70 for Fort Benton, 66 in Shodo, 72 in Glasgow, 73 in Jordan and Wolf Point as well. Just really, really nice and warm for tomorrow. Unfortunately, it is going to be a little bit breezier tomorrow as well. Not incredibly strong wind for this time of year, but noticeable. We're looking at 20 to 30 mile per hour wind gusts, and I think if we get a little bit later into the afternoon from here, we're probably actually going to be seeing some wind gusts that are as high as about 40 miles per hour, and definitely that high for places that are a little bit closer to the Rocky Mountain front. So that is going to be a little bit of a concern tomorrow, but overall with the warm temperatures and with the sunshine, I think it's going to be a fairly nice day for our Tuesday, and we're going to see some more nice days in the forecast, but we do have a few changes heading our way, so we'll break those down right now. Again, sunny, a little bit breezy, very close to 70 for our Tuesday. Really nice temperature-wise. Still mild on Wednesday, but we start to see that ridge break down a little bit, so we're a little bit cooler, still pretty breezy. Partly sunny skies for our Wednesday, and then we get some more changes Thursday and into Friday. Got a little bit of moisture heading our way, so some showers are possible into the day on Thursday, maybe even a couple rumbles of thunder, and a slight chance of showers or a few rumbles on Friday as well. But then we get right back on track forecast-wise, just in time for the weekend. 67 for both Saturday and Sunday, so a nice mild weekend for us. And even as we head into next week, things are pretty warm. Tom?
Coming up, Montanans find some pretty incredible ways to fight off boredom. We'll have more in our social distancing game changers.
Powered by the Montana Television Network. The 5:30 news continues on KRTV, Montana's news leader.
Time will tell when games will return, but in the meantime, our sports team is staying busy putting together another edition of social distancing game changers. Here's MTN's Tom Wiley.
Well, there is a light on the horizon for sports fans. The PBR will buck bulls this weekend at an empty arena in Oklahoma. There's a glimmer of hope for spring sports as we hear talk of a phased reopening. But in the meantime, Montanans have found some pretty incredible ways to pass the time. Number 5, we're 4 weeks in and the Troy Strong game of virtual catch continues to grow strong with athletes from around the state and the country joining in to play. We won't stop until this reaches the NFL and Russell Wilson. At number 4, who says you can't celebrate a birthday in the time of social distancing? Folks around the state continuing to find ways to make the day special, whether it's a visit from the Cascade County Sheriff or your neighbors at Malmstrom Air Force Base. Families keep making memories despite the obstacles. At number 3, the work never stops for athletes, even if the sports they play do. Here's MSU Northern's Joe Fair pulling a truck and then immediately hopping on the bench for some reps. There's no excuse not to stay in shape. At number 2, how do you fight boredom? With a little home engineering. This is Columbia Falls senior Jack Price, who turned his house into a giant Rube Goldberg machine. This ball travels from his bedroom, through the hallways, down the stairs, and finally into a cup after a lucky bounce. You can watch the full video at montanasports.com. And at number 1, this video from the High Line has gone mega viral. Shays Primo of Harlem shared this video of her nieces doing the Don't Rush Challenge, and since then it's been shared over 192,000 times on Facebook and even shared by Janet Jackson on Instagram. Well, that'll do it for this week. And of course, if you have some fun video or a creative idea you'd like to pass along, please share it with us at sports@krtv.com. Reporting from home, Tom Wiley, MTN News.
All right, some great videos there. Thanks, Tom. We're back right after this with an update on some rescued grizzly bear cubs. Finally tonight, the Wildlife Rehabilitation Center, Montana Wild, has 3 new adorable residents. The 3 orphaned grizzly cubs were found by a ranching family on the Rocky Mountain front 3 days after their mother was shot by a hiker and ultimately euthanized by FWP. The ranchers contacted FWP and helped to wrangle the little cubs so they could be transported to Montana Wild. They gave them a full examination and found the cubs were all in good condition, although a little dehydrated. The people there at Montana Wild say it's important to get the right types of food into these little cub systems. And yeah, just get them back up, hydrated, feeling good. Yeah. Glad to see they're doing well. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you in a few hours.